And I want to talk today about ethics and about morality, about the purpose of life, about the purpose of your life or purpose of my life, about how to live a good life, what it means to live a good life. Much more important stuff that I think we have much more control over. Politics, we have almost no control over this. So it's good to get away from the stuff we can't control and talk more about the stuff that's in our control on a day-to-day basis and what it is. And partially this is inspired. I think I said yesterday's show, the day before, I said, something about I'm interested in what makes people like Zizek and Jordan Peterson and others, what makes them successful, what makes them so relevant out there. And I think this is particularly true of Peterson. It's that he talks a lot about what he calls meaning. What should your life mean? What is the meaning of life? And how to find meaning and where to find meaning. And he gives concrete, specific advice on how to live a better life, and agree with it or disagree with the particulars. And I disagree with much of his advice. And I disagree with the actual what he's searching for, what he's asking people to search for, and we'll get to that. There is a massive hunger out there. There's a hunger in every human being, I think, to find meaning in their life, to find purpose in their life. And I would say that particularly given the moral code that most of us are raised under, finding purpose in life and pursuing values in life is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. We're not trained. We're not learn how to do it. We're trained on the opposite. Because the morality of altruism is a morality, it's an anti-values morality. And it's an anti-purpose morality. Because we're told that what is important in life, i.e. what is moral in life, is others, is what's good for others. The whole focus, therefore, the whole cognitive focus, the whole moral focus is on others. It's on their well-being. It's what they need. It's what should do. And focus on self is it's just less important. It's not as substantial. It's not as significant. It doesn't get you into heaven. It's not moral. It's something you have to do because, most altruists want you to survive. They don't want you just to die. So you've got to take care of yourself. But there's no focus on what does that mean? How does one take care of yourself? And this is why people need so much self-help and why self-help authors do so well. Because there comes a point in life where people realize, I don't know what I'm doing. And I've never spent the time and energy and thought, and nobody's ever taught me what I should be doing, how I should be living, what purpose should I live for, what does a successful life look like, how does one achieve a successful life. So there is this, that altruism creates this void in people's lives. We just live. There are no tools. There's no real structure. There's no meaning to our lives because meaning is in other people. Meaning is out there. And to the extent that we don't really want to live for other people, very few people do, the extent that we don't want to become Mother Teresa, and particularly to the extent that one is not religious, then what do? What's life about? Who should I live for? And what is my purpose? So I was looking on the internet, and again, Jordan Peterson has made this searching for meaning and so on. And for Peterson, the searching for meaning is always somehow searching out there for meaning. Somehow searching, there's meaning out there, and you have to connect with the meaning that's out there. And in that sense, the meaning is external to you, and this is consistent with altruism. It's consistent with religion that says that your purpose in life, the meaning that you get in life, is external to you. Your job is to find it, to discover it, not within you, but outside of you somehow. It's intrinsic in the universe. And for religion, the purpose is obvious. The purpose is to serve God. The purpose is to serve Jesus. The purpose is to serve this external entity. Secular altruist, the purpose is to serve the community, to serve other people, to serve the poor. But the service is out there. The purpose is service out there. And, this is amazingly bad advice because your purpose is not out there. You're not going to find meaning outside of yourself. So what is the purpose of life? Now, I was looking online and I found this video of Ayn Rand where she says, well, that's a loaded question. There is no such thing as the purpose of life. There's the purpose of your life. There's the purpose of my life. But there is no such thing as the meaning of life, the purpose of life. I mean, that's implying that there's something external that values life. That there's something external to which one must serve. It assumes religion. But the question is, what is your purpose? And what is the purpose of your life? Well, the purpose of your life is what? Right? It's at the end of the day, the purpose of your life is to live. It's to live. Life is the purpose of every individual's life, or should be the purpose of every individual's life. Ultimately, Rand's whole morality is about living. Once you choose to live, that becomes your purpose, and everything is oriented towards living, surviving, and thriving. But living in accordance to what it means to be a human being, living in accordance to what it means to be a rational animal, living in accordance to what it means to be human. Right? So, life, your life as a human being, is ultimately the purpose. Now, what kind of life? Well, the life suited to a rational being. What kind of life is that? Well, it's a life where you pursue the highest form of happiness. It's a life of joy. It's a life of happiness. It's a life of success. It's exactly the kind of life that Jordan and Zizek reject as false, as meaningless, as impossible. One should not pursue happiness. Absolutely one should pursue happiness. Ultimately, the highest moral purpose, your highest moral purpose, my highest moral purpose is happiness. It's to be happy. It's to live in a state of what Ayn Rand calls non-contradictory joy. To live in accordance with the requirements of human life, to live in harmony with, with your environment, with what's going on around you, not the environment as in nature, but the world out there, to achieve your values. And we'll get to what achieving one's values means. Because happiness is not the achievement of one's values, no matter what those values are. It's the achievement of specific kinds of values. It's living a productive life by using one's mind. Happiness is the end result. It's the purpose. I mean, how can one say happiness is irrelevant to meaning, as Jordan says? So we're here on earth to suffer? We're here on earth just to be? We're here on earth just to exist? as animals, but we have emotions. We feel about the world. We feel pain. We feel suffering, or we feel joy and we feel happiness. Should it just be about nothingness? Is happiness irrelevant? Or, according to Jordan Peterson, of course, happiness is accidental, or happiness only comes when you get into a certain zone of integration with the world. And there's a certain sense in which, when he says that, it sounds a little consistent with objectivism, but it really isn't. It really isn't. And it's that radicalism that is not there that makes it hard to spread objectivism. We're very demanding. So let's go back to the hierarchy of values. The top of the hierarchy is life. Now, Ryan defines 3 cardinal values, 3 most important values that are up in that pyramid at the very top, right underneath life. What does life require, she asks? What are the values that life requires? Well, first and foremost, life requires reason. Reason is the means by which we survive. Reason is the means by which we produce. Reason is the means by which we attain any human values. Everything of significance to human life is a product of reason. Now, except air and, but even water, beyond just going to the stream and drinking out of the stream, one has to devise mechanisms to get you water to drink. One has to filter the water. One has to clean the water. Human survival depends at every level on the use of one's mind, on the use of reason. So reason, purpose. One must have a purpose. Now, the purpose, the ultimate moral purpose, is to live a good life. It's happiness. And it becomes clear that to attain happiness, one needs to have a central purpose, something one can integrate the rest of our lives around. And the crucial central purpose for most people, again, not necessarily for everybody, this crucial central purpose for most people is the requirements of one's physical survival and one's spiritual success. And that is productive work. That is a career. One needs a career. One needs to work in order to create the wealth to sustain oneself physically. But if one does work and pursue a career that is a good career, that is an appropriate career for you as an individual, then it's a career where you're using your mind, where you're achieving, where you're succeeding, when you're using your reason to solve problems. That is the only worthwhile type of career. And it's that process of using your mind that makes the central purpose so rewarding spiritually and is the path towards achieving happiness. Right? So I was reading the third value, cardinal value, self-esteem, but we'll get to that. I'm reading Foundations of a Free Society, the reflections on Ayn Rand's political philosophy. I've shown this a few times on my show. It was edited by Gregory Salmieri and Robert Mayhew, 2 objectivist philosophers. And the first essay in this book, I have to say, truly, spectacular, I think, is really, really good. It's by Darrell Wright, another objectivist philosopher. The title of the essay is, let me just get it for you. The title is, pages are sticking, The Place of the Non-Initiation of Force Principle in Ayn Rand's Philosophy. And he's got 3 essays here, all about force, all about the force and the initiation of force and what it means and everything in this book. Those are the 3 opening chapters of the book, because that this is the most important concept to understand Ayn Rand's political philosophy, is to understand the meaning of force and what non-initiation of force actually means, and why the principle of non-initiation of force is real. He even has a section here on why the non-initiation of force principle is not the same as the non-aggression principle that libertarians like to talk about. But that's for another time. But one of the things he does here, which I found really, really brilliant and I really, really enjoyed, is he provides a condensed presentation of Ayn Rand's ethics, of the essential features of Ayn Rand's ethical system, and of the idea of life as a standard and happiness and so on. And it's just the formulations are so good that he has in this chapter. I really encourage everybody who's interested in Ayn Rand's theory of ethics and everybody interested in her politics to read the book, but to read this essay in particular for the ethics. Because the formulations are fresh, they're different. Here, if those of you have missed it, this is the book, Foundations of a Free Society. Reflections on Ayn Rand's Political Philosophy, edited by Gregory Salamieri and Robert Mayhew. And this essay in particular, it's the first essay in the book, is by philosopher Darrell Wright. Let me read you this section, which relates to what we're talking about. For conceptual being, the activity of living has directly experienced spiritual value. So the experience of living, right, the activity of living, and the activity of productive work has spiritual value. Rand's term for this value is joy. And when it is a stable and lasting undertone of one's life, happiness. So I'll read that again. When it is a stable and lasting undertone of one's life, that's happiness. That's what happiness is. So living, I'm just paraphrasing it, living, experiencing life every day in all of its dimensions should, if you're living a healthy life, provide you with real spiritual value. What is that value? Joy. And if you do it consistently, and it becomes a theme in your life, then that's happiness.
And let me start by quoting from a review of this novel, Atlas Shrugged, that appeared in Newsweek. It said that you are out to destroy almost every edifice in the contemporary American way of life, our Judeo-Christian religion, our modified government-regulated capitalism, our rule by the majority will. Other reviews have said that you scorn churches and the concept of God. Are these accurate criticisms?
Yes, I agree with the facts, but not the estimate of this criticism. Namely, if I am challenging the base of all these institutions, I'm challenging the moral code of altruism, the precept that man's moral duty is to live for others, that man must sacrifice himself to others, which is the present-day morality.
What do you mean by sacrifice himself for others? We're getting to the point.
One moment. Since I'm challenging the base, I necessarily would challenge the institutions you named, which are a result of that morality.
All right.
And now what is self-sacrifice?
Yes, what is self-sacrifice? You say that you do not like the altruism by which we live. You like a certain kind of Ayn Randist selfishness.
I would say that I don't like is too weak a word. I consider it evil. And self-sacrifice is the precept that man needs to serve others in order to justify his existence, that his moral duty is to serve others. That is what most people believe today.
Well, yes, we're taught to feel concerned for our fellow man, to feel responsible for his welfare, to feel that we are, as religious people might put it, children under God and responsible one for the other. Now, why do you rebel? What's wrong with this philosophy?
But that is what, in fact, makes man a sacrificial animal. That man must work for others, concern himself with others, or be responsible for them. That is the role of a sacrificial object. I say that man is entitled to his own happiness and that he must achieve it himself, but that he cannot demand that others give up their lives to make him happy. And nor should he wish to sacrifice himself for the happiness of others. I hold that man should have self-esteem.